Hi guys, welcome to Maker Mornings with Meg. So happy to see everybody this morning. We are starting on a sunny card for this sunny Friday. And when I was thinking about this card, I really wanted to use two new stamp sets, Sunny Sentiments and the Sharing Sunshine set, which are two separate sets, but they're right next to each other in the catalog, and clearly they go together. I really love the greetings inside this Sentiments stamp set, and thinking of a friend this morning who could use some sunny thoughts. I thought that this would be a fun one to get out. So I have a ton of tips for you guys today. We are going to cover heat embossing. We're going to cover heat and stick powder. We're going to cover gold leafing, gilded leafing. We're going to cover designer series paper card bases. A lot of fun things. Hi, Ethan. Morning, guys. I have to say too that I absolutely love that you guys say hi to each other when you jump on in these videos. So hi all. I'm glad you guys are here. So all right, we are going to jump in and get started. The Fine Art Floral is my go-to designer series paper for this. I was trying to think of papers that I had that were sunny and bright, and if you haven't seen this paper yet, you're gonna want to check it out. It is this guy here, which is the bright flowers on one side, and then the backs of the papers are these gorgeous sort of neutral watercolor kind of tones, sort of monochromatic, most of them. And I highly recommend this paper. It is in the outgoing January through June catalogs. This is good through the end of June, so you still have time. But I like this paper because it's really flexible. It matches lots of different things, and it includes lots of different color shades. So really you can use it for elegant things. You can use it for fun things like this, whatever works for you. So I have a 4x12 piece of paper, and I have scored it at 5.5 inches to make the card back. So this is going to be our back. And then I scored it again at 11 inches, which means that when I fold, I can fold this little bit over and this little bit under, and then we have a DSP card base, which is a really fun design. And like I said, I think Wednesday I said, oh, we have to cover up back the designer series paper. This one's great because you're not covering anything up. You get all of the joy of both sides of the paper, and they're really nicely coordinated. So, all right, you guys ready to get stamping? I'm going to give you some tips for using these stamp sets. So, all right, got you figured here. Let me get myself set up over here. So like I said, oops, wait a second. Did I totally put the thing? Oh, no, we're good. Sorry guys, like too many things going on at once. Anyway, so we have our DSP card base here. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and work on our greeting first. And so for the greeting for this one, like I said, I really love these sentiments. And the one I'm going to use is Thought You Could Use Some Sunny Thoughts today. Since I just opened this stamp set and it's brand new, I figured I would show you guys what I usually do when I have a new stamp set now is I take off, I'm flipping through my scrap bin here to find the background paper. There it is. I take the backing off of the rubber pieces, and I actually put that in the back of my stamp case. So if you just sort of flex this a little bit beyond neutral, then it'll open up really easily. So this came off of here, however it goes. And then I went ahead and popped this in the back because I don't know about you guys, but I like things to be easy. Don't we all? And so I like to know that all my stamps are just back in the case where they go, so that I don't have to work hard at making sure they're there. So this I just trash. My stickers I just keep as extra paper, and a lot of times if I put like extra things in my case, like extra stamped pieces I'm not using, then that layer is there to keep it safe. And then because I have the back of my sticker paper in here, it's really easy to see at a glance that all of my stamps there are in my case, and then this one will just go right back in there. So a tip for you on your red rubber stamps. So DSP card base again here. I wanted to, oh, Kelly says happy birthday. It's not my birthday, but thank you. It's got to be pretty close to my like half month unbirthday, my whatever they call it. Anyway, so what I wanted to do now was add this greeting. And I'm going to have our sunshine that's going to be in here. I kind of pictured it over here. So I was trying to figure out what to do with this shape because it's kind of oblong. It's not really a circle. If I put it, I could put it in a circle, but then there'd be a lot of space at the top and the bottom. So I actually looked at the catalog and I thought, no, well, how did they use this? And one of the samples that they put in was right here, where they actually did the greeting on an angle. And I thought, oh, well, that might work for our card. What if we put our greeting down here at an angle on the bottom of our card and then put this on like that? Okay, so with that in mind, I went ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp our greeting here. And I want this on the bumblebee cardstock because I want it to be bright and sunny and I want my greeting to show up really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my white embossing powders. And the embossing powders come as a set now, so which is great because how could you choose just one anyway? And my Versamark pad. And in the video description, I linked the supply list for this. And when I linked the supplies for Versamark, I put in the Versamark refill at the same time because the Versamark pad is the pad that I need to re-ink the most. And it's just frustrating when you don't have it. So do yourself a favor and just get the refill when you buy the pad. All right, so they tend to start looking a little scuzzy. I've probably had this one for 15 years, but they work just fine. So Versamark is a clear sticky ink that is used for a number of things. One of them is with heated powders, heat and stick or embossing powder. So I'm gonna just look at the back and make sure I can see that shine on there so that I know that it is really well inked. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stamp and just sort of look at it. Yep, looks good. Now, I'm gonna use a ton of scratch paper from my scrap bin today because I don't like brush my papers or things like that. I'd rather honestly just go to my recycle bin, grab some sheets of paper and you know, then toss them when I'm done. So super easy, and they were gonna be recycled anyway. So 3 steps with heat embossing. First step is Versamark ink, which is sticky, just a little bit to hold the powder. Second step is powder. You dump it on there and then return extra to the container. And so you can dump as much on there as you want. I'm gonna do this one more time to dump back in. And now I'm not gonna stress about that. That's going back in my recycling bin. Okay. The third step is to heat your powder, and you always want to close your powder before you do the heat embossing. I'm gonna clean up just a little bit. There was one little scrap of extra powder there. But the reason you close your powder is that this is your heat tool, and it basically blows hot air. So you don't want this powder open and whoosh, whoosh, waves. That's the sound effect for blowing powder, whoosh, whoosh, to go everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. I don't know how much my camera will pick up my sound over the noise, but when you heat emboss, you're basically melting that powder. You're heating up the surface of the cardstock and melting that powder. And I like to do it here. I'll show you from this. This is kind of what I'm doing. Do you see how I'm not holding my paper flat and I'm not doing this? I really like to do it like this at a really sharp angle because then all that air you're blowing across your paper is useful, right? It's sort of hard to guess sometimes where the heating part is going. So just by using that angle and blowing the hot air across the surface, you're making the most of all the hot air as you go. All right, now this, when you use like the gold, or it'll really kind of show off and look really impressive when it melts. This maybe not quite so much, but there is our greeting. It dries right away, or when it gets cool right away. So you can always check it and make sure that it's all melted. But the other thing that holding it at an angle does for me is it helps me to just see across the top. So like angle like this, it helps me to see across the top and I can see whether the powder is melting. And heat embossing is like the practice step for using heat and stick powder, which we're also gonna do. So, okay, now I've got this wacky angle on here. Meg, how am I gonna get this straight on our card? So let me tell you about that. What I wanna do is I want my greeting, so this is kind of unlike the sample in the catalog. I want my greeting to be straight, okay? I want it to be horizontally straight on our card. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my trimmer. Sorry, I totally can't use my trimmer sideways. Upside down, left, right, but not sideways. And so now what I'm doing is I am lining up my greeting. And there are all these lines as we go across here. So I can look at the background lines, I can look at the lines of the trimmer, I can look here, I can look here. Just look at those lines as you march across and make sure your paper isn't tweaked sideways. Okay, so then I'm gonna pull that off. All right, so now we have a triangle, but we need to crop off, let's see which way is this. We need to crop off this angle over here because it can't go beyond our card, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in here and I'm going to pop this on. And when you line your paper up against that, that lip edge of your trimmer, you know that it's gonna be straight. So all you have to do is hold that straight and then cut that off. And now I have the perfect little corner piece here at an angle for our card base, okay? And actually when I got my card finished, I thought, oh, it's kind of like a little mountain. It's really cute. Anyway, so we have this set and now we need to come back with our other stamp set with Sharing Sunshine and do some stamping to get our sunshine on here. And then we'll stamp a little on the inside and I'm gonna talk to you about DSP card bases and some tricks with those, so. All right, so I'm actually gonna do these 2 at once. So these are the images that I'm gonna use. Now normally here, I would stamp this background first because then it gives me a place to put my circles. But I actually found that this half circle was easiest to stamp first because it helps me to place everything else. So I'm gonna stamp one and then rotate it and stamp again, okay? It's not quite lined up, but you know what? It's gonna work out just fine. And then this one is gonna go on the inside of our card and I'll remind me to explain why we're doing that if I don't remember. Then I'm gonna take my Bumblebee ink pad, that was Calypso Coral, and I want this Bumblebee but a little bit lighter, so I'm gonna stamp off and then I'm gonna stamp here on our paper. And then I'm just gonna pick up my stamp and rotate it a teeny bit to the side. That gives us kind of 2 layers of color, one a little darker and one a little lighter, okay? And then the last part is to add this center sunshine here. And I'm gonna do that stamped off also. And I'm gonna make us an extra one that we're gonna die cut and put one here on the inside of our card, okay? All right, so now we are going to perk up our sunshine with a little smiley face. And there's actually kind of 2 smiley faces. There's this like moon one that they use with a moon face, and then this sort of smiley one here that they use for a sun face. So we're gonna pop that on here, one for the front and one for inside. And then there's these little cheeks. That was Poppy Parade. I'm gonna bring Calypso Coral back in here and stamp the little cheeks. And I like them to be lighter, so I'm stamping off on my scrap paper. And if you're wondering how I got the colors for this, I used the Fine Art Floral paper to get ideas. And remember, on the back of your designer series paper package, the colors are gonna be listed. So always a handy thing to keep track of. All right. Let's see, we've got our sunshines. Now these guys, I'm going to bring in here, try not to gasp at this mess, but my layering circles dies, the scallops and the circles are terrific. And I do love circle punches for speed and so forth, but for having lots and lots and lots of choices, you cannot beat the layering circle dies. So I'm gonna pull these in and cut here. Oh, I stamped the face. Well, I guess I'll have to make another smiley face because I put it on the wrong one. Okay, so put this here and then Calypso Coral again. That's okay, we'll just have extra smiles that happen to be hidden. And there we go. Okay, because this one I'm gonna cut out with my smaller circle. And this one I am going to cut out with my larger circle. So you can just play with the dies and figure out which ones work best. And through the magic of television, I have them cut here already. Oh, I didn't add that second layer. I like that second layer, so I'm gonna add it to this one. So on this one, I'm stamping off twice and then adding, doesn't really matter where, there we go, that extra sunny layer. Something about smiling, just, you know, I've heard actually people say there's studies that if you smile, you are happier. So always a good thing there. Okay, so this is gonna go in the center of our card. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna grab my seal. One of the things with designer series paper card bases is that you, sending you sunshine, Michaela, absolutely. Is that the paper is a little thinner. And so I like this to be a little sturdier. And one of the ways you can do that is adding full layers to your cards so that you really kind of strengthen those pieces. So now when I put this inside our card here, that really sturdyifies, is that a word? Sturdyifies our card base and gives us just a little extra bulk so that makes it stronger. The other thing that's gonna make it stronger is having layers across the front here. And I like to do those with Stampin' Dimensionals just for some extra strength. And so we'll get there in a second, but I need to not glue that down because I have other fun things coming. So we have our sunshine and this is gonna go across here and our sunshine is gonna fit like this. Okay, so we're kind of moving along. But I thought, you know what, this card really needs extra sunshine. And so what better way to add sunshine than extra gold leafing? So this is the gilded leafing. It is, as of right now, in North America, at least on back order, but only through, like, it'll be in the warehouse next week. So I would, you know that it shouldn't be too long if you go ahead and add that to an order soon. The sunshine is going to get some gold leafing treat. And you guys saw I added an extra layer to this sunshine so that this is gonna get popped up on a dimensional just to add some extra dimension and so forth. Okay, so we're echoing our sunny flower colors and we are going to add gold leafing to this. So here's where another piece of paper from my recycling scrap bin comes in. Sort of music boosters agendas from our meeting this month. Anyway, the Versamark pad is going to come back because we're going to use that sticky ink again. And this time, instead of using embossing powder, I'm going to use the heat and stick powder. Now, this is like, so embossing powder is like level 1 of heat embossing. Heat and stick powder is like level 2 or 3 of heat embossing. And the reason that I say that is it takes a really light touch. So we'll talk about that here as we get started with heating, but I'm going to take my Versamark pad. I'm going to clean off this background here that I've used with my sunshine. Did I get it good clean? Yep. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp now in Versamark over our sunshine. Okay. So I'm going to ink this up. Give it a good amount of ink there. And like I said, my pad is like 15 years old. So do yourself a favor, get your Versamark ink refill when you get your pad, then you'll always have it. But all right, so I'm peeling this back now. I'm gonna close my pad because again, you don't want powder to get in your ink pad. And now there is Versamark on here, which is just sticky enough to hold powder. The heat and stick powder is a little bit, it's finer than heat and stick powder that we carried many years ago, which is great because it sticks a little better to the powder this way. But you don't want to go crazy tapping off your heat and stick powder. So honestly, I'm just gonna turn this and do a light tap. It's a little bit heavier, I think. And so it wants to jump off your paper just a little more. And then you can use this and put a little bit more of that powder back in and then recycle that paper. So, woohoo. Good thing we printed extra agendas, right? Who knew we'd need them for our heat and stick powder. Okay, so now I am going to heat this. Now, Versamark powder stays sticky for a long time, so you don't really have to panic like, oh my gosh, Meg, how can you talk? You've got your heat and stick powder, it's gonna dry. It really doesn't. The Versamark stays nice and wet. Like if I were gonna heat emboss like 15 cards, you could stamp all 15 of them, pour the powder on, and then go back and heat emboss them all at once, sort of assembly line style. It is an amazing, amazing ink. So what I want to tell you about the heat and stick powder is that you have to heat it really, really, really gently. So find yourself a good light so that you can see what you're doing. And let's see, I have to see how I'm gonna do this here. Your heat tool is very hot. When Stampin' Up! Had these when I was first demonstrating almost 19 years ago, or 19 years ago, the heat tools came with directions for stripping paint, okay? So this is not like a hair dryer. It's definitely a specialty item. And so I am going to turn this on, and I'm gonna turn this at an angle, like I said before, so that I can see what is going on, because I do not want to overheat the powder. As soon as that powder turns a little bit clear, you have to stop heating it, because overheating it will desiccate the glue. It'll just dry it out, and you will not have your powder or your leafing or whatever you need to put on it stick. I can turn this off. There we go. Okay, so that is heated, and it's sticky now. So it's like melting the glue. It's not so much that it is hot. It doesn't stay hot. It is that that was a lot. It is that that powder is sticky. So, all right, I'm gonna pop this on here and off of my fingers. That was like a big grab. Try to grab it with like your fingertips. And then I'm just gonna close this, because you don't want this gold leaf to like float out everywhere. I think the jar is never ending. It's like Mary Poppins. And I was playing with different ways to apply this. I actually really like it here. I'm gonna pull you guys in a little closer. Hello, earthquake. I actually really like to apply it with the sponge. So what I'm gonna do is just tap this around, and I might need a little more leaf. There's some over here. It tends to float. I'm just gonna tap this into our, okay, I do need a little more. Into our heat and stick powder. So like I said, it's sticky. It's not staying hot. It's just melted. And so then I have plenty of time to kind of go around and press this in. So I don't really want to wipe necessarily, because I don't want to wipe the stickiness of the glue, but I'm just sort of tapping and just a little bit wiping to the side. Okay. And so I'm pressing with a sponge to press the gold leafing into my glue. Okay. All right, and you can kind of see it taking shape there. All right, when I've got it pretty well pressed in, then I'm gonna use my sponge to kind of just wipe and clean up the edges. Okay, and my favorite ways to use gold leafing are ones that are low stress, okay? Which by that I mean, I like to use it for things where it doesn't have to be an absolutely perfect image. If I over melted my heat and stick powder, it's not gonna matter. It just really gives that excellent shine wherever it ends up, without like having to be perfect every time. So just make it easy for yourself and pick it for things like that. And once you've used it a bunch of times, you'll really find that you're getting the hang of it, and you'll be able to use it on things that have to be a full image. So like a word here, like biggest wish, this would be really fun to do with gold leafing. Give yourself some time to practice with it before you get to that point. So, all right, so there is our gold leafing sunshine. Now, actually, I really thought that I would love to have gold leafing appear on our card in another place also. So what I did, or what I'm gonna do now, is I'm going to do a different kind of the application, and I'm gonna do a direct to paper application here. So I'm gonna bring back our paper here that's gonna have our heat and stick powder on it, and we're gonna do it one more time. And I'm gonna use my ink pad, and I am going to just tap right along that extra flap of our card. And let's see, give it a good look. Make sure you got powder, yep, or got ink. And then now you guys know how this works. Step 1, sticky ink. Step 2, add powder. Step 3, heat. So we'll put this back in here. Oops, kind of missed. No worries. Oops, I just dropped our sunshine though. We do need that. Close your powder. I feel like I should add I just flung it again. Step 3 to be, never mind, I'm confusing things. Oh, I gotta melt. See, I almost forgot. So worried about closing my powder. So now I'm going to, again, watch from the side until my heat and powder is just, it goes from opaque to clear. And at that second, you have to stop heating. You can't be going back and forth or overheating it or, you know, endlessly heating. And then we'll bring our powder back in here. Carol says, great on a Christmas star. Yes, or manger. Yeah, right there. We got our iconography, right? Our Greek Orthodox icons and all their gold leafing and so forth. Okay, and then just add your leafing and pop that on there. I think I can use a teeny bit more. Just grab another flake. You could use like a little spoon or something. Honestly, I just think it's easy to control the leafing if I just pick out the piece that I want. So, okay. Now, the other nice thing about doing this with a sponge is that you can make sure that your elements are not sticky anymore. So there you go. All right, so you can see there's a really awesome texture to that. Some places where it's a little brighter, some places where it's a little lighter, and I love the way that came out. So, all right, let's bring this back here and let's start putting our card together. One more layer. I decided to grab another piece from this designer series paper and pop this under here. So let's go ahead and adhere that. And I'm gonna pop this right under here so that it just complements our paper. And I think I cut them a teeny bit different in size. So I'm gonna trim that, okay? And then this one. And you wanna make sure you get a good bond here because this little flap sometimes likes to unstick itself, okay? All right, and then we need to start putting our pieces on. So I have my Sunny Thoughts greeting, and I'm gonna pop more dimensionals than I would usually use. So if you watch my videos, sometimes people are like, oh, Meg, you don't use very many dimensionals. Well, you know, they're sticky, so I don't need a ton. But for this, I'm gonna use a little more because this layer is helping to increase the stability of our card front, okay? So that's really useful. And then on here, I'm gonna add some more dimensionals to our sunshine with our gold leafing. Love the way that turned out. And then that sunshine is gonna kind of peek over our little greeting / mountain idea here and our sunshine on top of it. So, all right, so what did we do today? Holy cow, we covered a lot of stuff. We made DSP card bases. We covered two-step stamping with lots of stamping off. We talked about gold leafing. We talked about heat embossing. We talked about the difference between melting heat and stick powder and embossing powders. We did this fun little sort of mountain different greeting style and how to keep that all straight. We talked about keeping your gold leafing and your powders and so forth under control. Just all kinds of really fun tips today. So the stamp sets, though, are my kind of my favorite go-to for this. Woo, you guys are crooked. Sorry. Stamps are kind of my favorite go-tos for this. So Sunny Sentiments has some really nice greetings in it, a little different from ones that we have in other sets. I know we've been out of touch, but I think about you more often than you know. How often do we have someone that we would love to send a card to with a heartfelt greeting, but we think, oh man, I feel a little out of touch and a little weird. That's a really great sentiment for it. And sending sunny thoughts today. I I hope you guys have some fun plans for your weekend. If it includes crafting, think about sharing some sunny thoughts with some folks. Send some cards. And then, of course, that Sharing Sunshine greeting set or stamp set to go with it, with all of these fun little images. And there are some great, it's on page 39 in the catalog if you want to look at some of the samples in there. There's some really great ideas for different ways to use this. And they use this as a moon too, not just as a sunshine. So there is our Fine Art Floral DSP card base, designer series paper card base idea for you. And I hope that you guys have a super sunny Friday, sending sunny thoughts your way also, and a great weekend to boot. So we'll be back on Monday for another Maker Mornings with Meg, and I look forward to sharing more card ideas with you then. So good to see you guys. Honestly, it makes my day when I get to say hi to everybody. So thank you guys for your comments and for watching this morning. So have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Happy stamping.